What's cooking, everyone? My name is Chef's Life and welcome back to another Snapshot showcase on the channel, where today we're going to be checking out Snapshot 25w32a, which I am extremely late to do. This is actually a 2-week old snapshot by now, and well, yeah, you guys might already know this, but I feel like I need to catch up. So we're going to be talking about some things and a bit of theory crafting. So first off, we're going to show off all the new copper blocks, such as the new copper torches. We have the new copper lanterns, as well as some copper bars and some copper chains, which are awesome. Of course, you can also get these in the wax variant. So we have over here, as you can see, these are the new copper bars, which is basically just a retextured regular iron bar. But in my opinion, that's honestly a good thing, because you can actually use like the regular copper one and then the sort of exposed copper oxidized variation. You can use these to basically make like a rust looking, cellar cage, whatever you'd like. Or you could just make like a whole oxidized copper cage or something. Over here we have the new copper torches. As you can see, they actually have green fire, because in real life, if you do use copper with fire, you can make green fire, which is actually pretty cool. It's probably why the oxidization of copper has a bit of green to it. And over here we have the new copper lanterns, of course, in all of the stages of oxidization, which don't change the light level or don't change the actual fire texture. It's still pretty much the same. You just have different colors if you want to use them. Of course, my favorite is definitely the non-oxidized variation, or kind of this one, actually. This one and that one. Those two are my favorite looking ones so far. Over here, as you can see, we have the new copper chains, which, of course, come in all variations, all oxidizations, all wax variations. And so that is pretty much what the new additions are. But over here, we have a couple of new changes. Ignore the flint steel. That actually doesn't have any new differences. But we do have the chain item, which now is called the iron chain, because, of course, we have the copper chain. So they figured to rename it into iron chain. So, the difference. And then we got a recipe change to the copper trap door. It used to previously be 6 copper ingots on the bottom, but now it's instead just 4, because the new recipe actually should show off the new recipe for these items. But the new recipe for the copper bar is the old recipe for the copper trap door. So that's why that has been changed. Definitely a bit cheaper. And yeah, so we have the copper bars, and the recipe here, as you can see, is the old recipe for the copper trap door. We have the new copper chains, which do utilize the copper nuggets, kind of like the iron chain as well. So we have a copper ingot and 2 iron nuggets, or copper nuggets. Down here we have the copper torch recipe, which is just a regular torch, and very similar to the soul torch, you actually need to have the copper nugget on the top, like the soul torch. And then to make a full copper lantern, it does require a whole copper ingot, but instead, being able to make the copper torch, but with the rest of the nuggets you get to use surrounding it with a copper torch, and you do get the copper lantern. And yeah, those are all the recipes and the changes. And now I just kind of want to show off some things relating to the things that they actually didn't add, which I was quite surprised that they didn't. So as you can see here, I have a little display of the current existing fire related things. So of course we have netherrack, which if you light up, it makes infinite fire. We have the regular lantern, which of course just requires all the regular stuff. And then we have the regular torch, classic light source. We also have the campfire, which of course produces just all this regular, orange fire, and then the smoke. Then we also have the soul stuff, which of course makes the blue fire. And then we have the soul lantern and soul torches, which is of course blue, a very light blue, as well as the soul campfire. But one thing they actually didn't add, which was quite surprising, was a new campfire and a new green fire. We do have the green fire via the torches and the lanterns, but we don't actually have green fire. We only have the regular fire. If you light up the copper blocks, they will not produce any green fire, which is kind of disappointing, and I do hope they change that. I do think it makes sense if the oxidization levels from the exposed to weathered to fully oxidized would probably make more sense, since the greenness of the copper is sort of exposed. I think it would make sense if the fire would be affected with the 3 levels of oxidization, as well as a new recipe for a copper campfire, which sounds funny to say, but in actuality it would just be the regular campfire recipe, except it would use a copper nugget or maybe even a copper ingot in replacing the coal or charcoal in the center. And that is going to be about it for the new snapshot with the new copper decorations. More uses for copper, much like the community has been asking for, and especially green fire related light sources. The only thing I do wish that they add and hope that they add in the future is a copper campfire, as well as the copper fire, green fire, whatever it may be called. And like I said early on in the video, this is a old snapshot now, 2 weeks ago. I'm a bit late to some of this stuff. I will go over Snapshot 25w33a 25w32a. It's pretty soon, so that should come out in the same day as this one or the day after. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, that'll be about it for me today. If you guys did enjoy this snapshot showcase, please consider leaving a like, subscribe to keep up to date with more of my content, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.